Canada HR News on September 4th, 2023. I'm Elena Bobereva, back from my summer break. In today's episode, we talk about drop-in business confidence in Canadian economy, the promising future of hybrid work, precarious nature of work of wildland firefighters, and other topics. Stay with us to get the latest HR updates. The Conference Board of Canada reports that business confidence in Canadian economy has been dropping for the last 2 years. Only 16.8% of Canadian executives believe the overall economic conditions will improve. The majority still think that things will remain the same over the next 6 months. 20% of survey respondents said they expect prices in Canada to rise at an annual rate of 5% or higher over the next 6 months. While still alarming, it is an improvement from 27.7% last quarter. High interest rates are at the top spot as the leading worry for Canadian business executives. High interest rates are currently adversely affecting their level of planned expenditures. Firms are worried that another increase could come in September. But Conference Board believes that the remainder of the year could yield no further rate hikes. A new poll by Leger suggests that nearly half of Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck as the cost of living continues to squeeze household budgets, and young people are more likely to say their finances are in poor shape. The poll suggests that the Conservatives, who are hammering home a message about affordability, are gaining popularity, with 38% of respondents saying they would vote for the Tories if an election were held today. And support for the Liberals, who focused their recent cabinet retreat on the housing crisis, is slipping. The poll suggests high prices are hitting people in Atlantic Canada, Manitoba and Saskatchewan the hardest. More than half the respondents in those regions say they're just getting by on each paycheck, compared to 38% of Quebecers and 42% of people from British Columbia. 60% of respondents described their household finances as good or very good, while 36% said their finances were poor or very poor. People over the age of 55 were most likely to say they were faring well compared to younger age groups, and more men than women reported that their finances were in good shape. Younger people were also more likely to say they think Canada is in an economic recession. According to Indeed, hybrid work is here to stay. 13% of Canadian postings on Indeed mentioned some form of location flexibility. Hybrid opportunities have soared across remote-friendly sectors, but account for a large share of work-from-home arrangements in white-collar fields like finance and legal services. Location flexibility attracts job seekers. Despite sharp declines in job postings in tech and other white-collar sectors over the past year, many new job openings in these fields continue to offer the ability to work from home. The overall remote hybrid share rose further in the tech sector, where it was already highest, including covering almost half of postings in software development. The share of postings noting location flexibility in the legal services and banking and finance sectors jumped above 37%. As the pandemic waned and offices reopened, some employers began taking note of some of the downsides to fully remote work. Still, Canadian job seekers continue to seek out remote work of some kind. As of late July 2023, 4.1% of all Canadian job seeker searches on Indeed included remote, hybrid-related terms, which is down slightly from a year earlier, but still more than 6 times higher than the pre-pandemic rate. Going forward, remote and hybrid work face potential headwinds, including employer concerns over remote work's impact on productivity and workplace cohesion. The health of the economy itself may also play a role. If the labor market softens and job seekers have fewer options, some employers might be less inclined to offer location flexibility. Air Canada is slashing 6 major routes out of Calgary this winter, in part due to an industry-wide pilot shortage that the carrier says threatens its overall operational stability. The country's biggest airline confirmed it would no longer offer non-stop flights from Calgary to Ottawa, Halifax, Los Angeles, Honolulu, Cancun, or Frankfurt as of the end of October due to ongoing fleet and crew constraints. Montreal-based Air Canada is also facing pressures due to supply chain challenges that are making it more difficult for the airline to obtain parts and complete airline maintenance on time. A pilot shortage has been brewing across the continent for several years due to a variety of factors, including an aging workforce and the rapid proliferation of new discount airlines that are putting pressure on the labor supply. The move is the latest evidence that Canadian airlines are still struggling to find their footing in the wake of the pandemic. It's also the latest development in an ongoing turf war between Air Canada and its main competitor, Calgary-based WestJet. Last year, WestJet announced a new strategy that would see it concentrate the bulk of its future growth in Western Canada. The airline removed a number of routes from the Ottawa-Toronto-Montreal triangle as the result. Research from Robert Half shows that workers have mixed feelings about the use of generative AI. According to a survey of more than 1,100 workers in Canada, 27% think generative AI will have a positive impact on their careers, compared to 17% who worry it could make their skills obsolete. Gen Zers and millennials are more optimistic about generative AI than Gen Xers and baby boomers. More than 60% of Gen Z use or plan to use AI to help with improving their LinkedIn or online profiles. They also use it for resume writing and keyboard optimization of cover letters. They use it for interview prep and job searches. Gen Xers, millennials, and baby boomers use or plan to use generative AI for assistance with their careers at a much smaller scale. Technology and marketing and creative professionals are most likely to feel that AI will create more demand for their skills. According to the research, workers say the greatest benefit of using generative AI on the job are automating time-consuming tasks and increasing efficiency and productivity. Many companies see the upside of leveraging AI in the workplace too. In a separate Robert Half survey, managers shared the top ways their teams are using technology. Finance and accounting are using AI for streamlining and automating accounts payable and receivable processes. Human resources are using it in a variety of ways, including evaluating employee performance. Administrative and customer support teams are using AI for analyzing and categorizing customer feedback. Legal teams are using it for drafting documents. Technology teams are using it for processing large volumes of data to improve systems performance. Marketing and creative professionals are using it for writing copy for campaigns, social media, and communications. "2023 has been the worst year for forest fires in Canada. A mild winter and a dry spring created the perfect conditions to ignite the country. The National Union of Public and General Employees, representing firefighters, states that recruitment and retention in the sector have been a major concern. Low wages, dangerous working conditions, poor work-life balance, and increasing concern about health implications are all conditions that are making it harder to attract and keep workers. Training suffers as the result of high turnover. Often, during active wildfire season, provinces contract firefighters from other provinces to supplement their workforce. But during this year's fire season, with hundreds of fires burning in almost every province, it has been difficult to find workers. Provinces have had to rely on members of the military and international allies to compensate. The union is calling for better benefits. Unlike urban firefighters and some emergency response workers, wildland firefighters do not have access to presumptive coverage when it comes to cancer. Since forest fires don't burn on a regular 9 to 5 schedule, a large portion of a firefighter's salary is overtime. These earnings are not included as a pensionable service, which means their pensions are severely lower than they should be. Because wildland firefighters are not included in the definition of public safety occupations under the Federal Income Tax Act regulation, they cannot retire at the same age as urban firefighters. The union is lobbying the federal and provincial government to have wildland firefighters included in the public safety occupation to ensure wildland firefighters receive the benefits and pension they deserve. PricewaterhouseCoopers Canada is improving its parental leave policy. As part of its Me Plus PwC program, the company conducted listening tours with employees, and they received feedback including more support for parents. One of employee concerns was just the overwhelming feeling of what to do and where to find information for parental leaves. So step 1 is to bring all the information together and make it user-friendly. PwC developed a parenting hub, a website that clearly shows the steps employees need to take depending on where they are in the leave process. The next step is visioning. Before a parental leave, employees have access to 3 coaching sessions through a third-party provider to talk through their vision for parental leave, how to develop a transition plan, addressing concerns, and how to tell colleagues and clients. Employees are supported through the entire journey. They have access to the coach and resources during the leave period, as well as 3 more group coaching sessions when they return from leave to discuss shared experiences. The other part of the new parental leave improvements is training for leaders, so that when someone returns from initial coaching or when they return to work, they are met with a leader who understands the various challenges people may experience and who is welcoming towards their reintegration. Benefits Canada reports that the improvements align with the company's benefit strategy as a whole and reflect the diversity of its employees and recognizing all types of parents. And we end this podcast on a happy note. The ADP Canada Monthly Happiness at Work Index for August reports the highest score to date with an increase in happiness levels across generations and regions. The only workers reporting a decrease in their work happiness scores for August are those located in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. The theory is that the workers in Canada are happier in summer shows merit, says ADP VP of Marketing Heather Haslam. August is typically the peak season to travel and take time off before school is back in season, and it is encouraging to see that the summer period positively affects workers in Canada. Despite workers in Quebec holding the top spot for happiness for the 4th month in a row, Atlantic Canada reports the biggest jump in score this month, going from the lowest regional score in July to being tied with Alberta. Notably, workers in Ontario also achieved a significant milestone in August, recording their highest score to date. As fall approaches, often a busier time for many, ADP encourages employers to plan ahead and recommit to promoting a healthy sense of work-life balance. And this was Canada HR News. Please leave us a rating and a comment in Apple Podcast. You can also find us in Google Podcasts, Spotify, and your other favorite platforms. For more information on the topics discussed today, see the episode description and connect with us